Center for the Ethiopian Educational Information and Communication Technology presents Educational Satellite Television Programs.
Hello, teacher. Hello, students. Today, we will hear a text about life in Addis Ababa. We will begin by discussing different street scenes from Ethiopia's capital. Then, we will hear about the experiences of a young boy who lives in Addis. As a final exercise, we will contrast life in Addis to life in the town where you live. This will be a very interesting lesson. So, I hope that you are ready to begin. Students, look at these pictures of Addis Ababa. What do you know about Ethiopia's capital? In a group of 3 or 4, list as many facts as you can about the city. Make sure that each member of your group writes a good copy of the list, because we are going to be using it for another activity later in the lesson. You can begin your discussions now, and I will see you in a few minutes.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello, students. I hope that each of your groups was able to list many facts about Addis Ababa. Now, I am going to read an extract describing the city. As you are listening, see how well my description agrees with the facts you listed. Ready? Then I will begin reading. My name is Adibe, and I live in Addis Ababa. Addis is the largest city in Ethiopia, with a population of around 3 million. It is often called the capital of Africa because of its historical, diplomatic, and political importance for the continent. Many people from different regions of Ethiopia live in the city, which has recently had a construction boom with tall buildings rising up everywhere. There are more educated, middle-class people living in Addis now than at any other time. The architecture is as varied as the city itself. Tall office buildings, elegant villas, functional bungalows, flats, fashionable hotels, conference halls, shopping malls, and theaters, many of which have gleaming marble and metal-clad walls that catch your attention. These modern buildings contrast with the traditional homes of wattle and daub, roofed with corrugated iron, patched with plastic bags, and surrounded by cattle, sheep, goat, and chickens, which are set outside the compound walls of the larger buildings. The city is not divided into rich and poor neighborhoods. Over half of the population of Addis lives in slums. Beggars set up a regular pitch outside churches and on street corners. But traffic lights are prized as prime spots from which to make enough money to feed their children. Daily life in Addis begins before dawn. Each morning, the smoke of cooking fires finds its way through the many gaps in the roofs. By night, the sounds of families going to bed early gives way to the howling and barking of dogs across the city, driven to distraction by the hyenas coming down from the mountain to scavenge under the cover of dark. Addis sounds like an exciting place to live, does it not? I wonder how well Adibe's description of Addis agreed with your own. Working in the same group as before, discuss what you have learned from the listening text about the city and add the new facts to your list. You can get started now.
Students, let's get ready. Begin. Time's up. Let's get back to our lesson.
Hello again, everyone. By now, I am sure that you have assembled an impressive list of facts about Addis Ababa. We will be using what you have written for a class discussion at the end of the lesson. it sounds like Addis Ababa is a very big city that has many attractions, but also many problems. Would you move to Addis if you could? Does life in Ethiopia's capital sound better than where you are living now? There is no correct answer to this question, and you probably each have a different opinion on the subject. Some of you probably think that life in Addis would be exciting, with lots to see and do. Every day might bring a new experience or a new opportunity. While we have heard that there are many slums in the city, some of the people who live there might be able to climb out of poverty and become wealthy in a way that is not possible living out in the countryside. Throughout history, change has come from the cities and then swept across the surrounding country. Perhaps, as young people, some of you would like to be there when those changes happen, or even to be a part of them. On the other hand, some of you probably prefer to stay living where you are. Life in Addis sounds very hard for many people, with huge slum areas and many beggars crowding the streets. It can be very hard to get enough food and clean water, and safety and hygiene are major concerns when there are that many people living in a relatively small area. Addis sounds like it would be a very challenging place to live, so perhaps your town sounds more appealing to you. Following today's lesson, teacher will lead a class discussion. You will be asked to suggest differences between Addis and your hometown. Teacher will write your suggestions on the board. Then you can find out if anyone disagrees with them and why. If you like, you can also discuss which place you would prefer to live. Be sure to explain your reasoning and listen to each other respectfully. That is all for today. We have learned a great deal about life in Addis Ababa. Next time, we are going to be contrasting Ethiopia's past with its present. I will see you then. Thank you, teacher. Thank you, students.